Hey, Bill O'Reilly here. Welcome to the No Spin News, Tuesday, December 22nd, 2020. Stand up for your country. This is the year-end edition. I'm going to take some time off, give my staff a breather. You know, we worked pretty hard. I think you know that this year because of so much happening. And it's very difficult to stay ahead of the story. And I keep telling everybody, look, the worthiness of BillO'Reilly.com, the No Spin News, our radio and television broadcasts is that we are ahead of the story and we never deceive you. We don't do propaganda, we don't do speculation, we don't do any of that. And in this world, in this country, things are so dubious, word of the day, dubious. You need to know what's happening to protect yourselves and your family. And we have been able to deliver that in an amazing way, and we're going to show you a little bit of that tonight. I hope you get a pen and paper. That's always good to watch this program with that. And we're going to have a special appearance by Holly the Terror Dog. Holly's warming up in the bullpen for an appearance later on this broadcast. So the key question is, which year was worse? 2020, this year, or 1929, the Great Depression began? I'm going to run it down. I'll tell you my opinion on it. So there's no doubt in our lifetime, this is the worst year, 2020. Now, most of you are not alive in 1929, a few, but not many. But in the majority of people watching tonight's lifetime, this is the worst year, and it's not even close. So let's begin with COVID because it affects every one of us. And there's hope, thanks to the Trump administration. I'm not saying that in a political way, but it's said so rarely. I think I have a responsibility to say that vaccine development was amazing. All right, now that word is overused, but it really was. So on January 22nd of this year, I was the first national broadcaster / reporter to warn you. Roll the tape. China. Coronavirus. It's really a super flu. All right? Coronavirus. It gets into your lungs. It's like pneumonia. You can't breathe. You die. So far, 440 cases, most of them in China, 9 dead. The town of Wuhan has been isolated, shut down, can't get in. This is like the Andromeda strain. Now, that is very chilling to everybody on the planet, this pan-epidemic thing that we've seen in the movies, zombie people, you know, all that. But it's happening in China. 1 case in the USA outside of Seattle. And now if you fly from China to the USA, you are being scrutinized in the airports. But it takes about a week for this disease to manifest itself. So, pretty frightening situation. What's going on? We'll keep you posted on that. The coronavirus. Very proud of that. Not that the virus hit, but that I was able to pinpoint it and warn you. Okay. The second soundbite that's very, very important is on August 20th, I told you how COVID was going to influence the presidential vote. Roll that tape. If Trump loses, it's because of COVID. I'm not saying he's going to lose. I won't know until the end of October, and then I'll tell you what will happen. Okay? But if he loses, it's COVID. That's what killed him. Imagine no COVID. Think back to the State of the Union address, where he knocked it out of the park because the economy was roaring, our foreign policy, we're getting better trade deals, everything was in place for him. Bang. If he loses, it's COVID. And COVID is not subsiding. Now, absolutely true. No COVID, President Trump would have walked into re-election. But it was in a way that I did not foresee that Donald Trump lost the election. Now, I know some of you are going, well, he didn't lose and all that, but let's just be real, okay? He's not going to be president for the next 4 years. COVID allowed the states to do massive mail-in voting that countermanded their own state constitution and voting rules. That's what did them in, and I'll prove it to you in a moment. So it was COVID. And there were a lot of people who voted against Donald Trump because they didn't think he handled the pandemic correctly, but I'll show you that he did in a moment. It was the mail-in voting. Okay, let's get specific. Timeline on COVID. So right now, there are about 18 million cases diagnosed in the USA. 18 million. Population 330 million. 317,000 Americans have died. All right? There have been 235 million tests, COVID tests, far more than anyone in the world. Therefore, we have a higher number of stated COVID cases because we test so much in the USA. Right now, as I talk to you, 115,000 Americans are in the hospital with COVID. Okay? About 8,000 of them are on ventilators, which means they're critical. England is shut down. I'm not so concerned about overseas right now in this broadcast, but you should know that. But there's hope because the vaccine is now being distributed, and I predict by May that normalcy, or at least a sense of it, will return to the USA. COVID timeline. All right, so I told you that on the 22nd, I warned you that this was coming. On the 24th, 2 days after that, the USA confirms its second case of COVID. Remember, I gave you that warning based on one case, but I knew in China that the communist government was using the military to surround Wuhan. So no one in, no one out. And if you defied that, the army would shoot you. So I knew the Chinese knew that this was a vicious illness. That's what I base my analysis on. I'm not some kind of seer of the future. On January 31st, President Trump stopped all Chinese travel into the United States. That was a key moment. All right. On February 3rd, the Trump administration declared a public health emergency. So it was a fairly rapid response. Remember, the 23rd, second case, 8 days later, shut down of travel. February 3rd, 10 days later, public health emergency. That's pretty fast for a lumbering bureaucracy. February 19th, all right, COVID death toll in the USA surpasses 2,000. So now we're accelerating. March 13th, okay, Donald Trump declares COVID a national emergency, okay, and therefore the federal government has more powers. March 26th, the Senate passes the first aid bill, all right? The second one was passed yesterday. April 2nd, the lockdown starts, okay? As deaths exceed in the USA 50,000. 91% of Americans are ordered to stay home. April 2nd. So you cannot say that Donald Trump isn't taking this seriously, that he wasn't on the job. All of that were absolute lies. And they were repeated over and over and over by our corrupt media. On May 15th, the Trump administration announces the framework for Operation Warp Speed to develop a vaccine. Now, maybe that could have been a little sped up a little bit more. Maybe we do that at the end of April. I'm second guessing, but May 15th is when the announcement was made. That, you know, and then there were a lot of, oh, he'll never get it done, right? Remember that? Oh, it'll be impossible. All right, fast forward to August 13th, Joe Biden, during the campaign, calls for a mask mandate. At that time, surveys show about 90% of Americans were wearing masks. So it was just to try to make Trump, because Trump didn't want an order that everybody wear masks. The states basically issued their own orders, as it should be. because there are different situations in the states. So far, I haven't seen anything that Donald Trump has done wrong in this whole thing, other than he might have been more proactive with the mask, but 90% of Americans were wearing it. So, but he could have held the mask up a couple of times. October 19th, global cases top 40 million. 40 million COVID cases around the world, October 19th. October 30th, USA expresses 9 million COVID cases. And then on December 11th, the FDA approves Pfizer's vaccine. Pfizer knew it had the vaccine before the vote, did not say anything. Could have. The CEO does not like Donald Trump. We established that in our reporting, kept it quiet. So it could have been a week before the vote. Pfizer CEO could have, we have the vaccine. And it's going to work, 95%. Didn't do it. So now, where we are is we're still suffering. We, the American people, no doubt about it. Christmas is wrecked. Thanksgiving was wrecked. People can't travel. People are sick. People lost their jobs. People are terrified. I mean, terrified. I know a lot of people won't go out of the house, will not leave the house. And they're not old. They're just not going. They're staying in the house. They have the groceries brought in. Okay? Not leaving. Terrified. Again, the Trump administration's greatest achievement was this vaccine. Better than the economy. Because May to the end of September, you get it? I don't know. The president got one vote because of that. It's amazing. Isn't it amazing? All right, we'll get to the election in a moment. Second cataclysmic occurrence in the USA this year, 2020, was the George Floyd killing. Obviously, Mr. Floyd should not have been killed. All right, you can make every excuse in the world, but he's a drug addict. He's causing a low-level beef, and he winds up dead after 4 officers in Minneapolis, Minnesota answer the call. Didn't happen. We all of us who are fair-minded acknowledge that. In the beginning, there was a coming together of Americans saying, can't do this. Okay, we can't have the policeman's knee on the guy and the guy saying he can't breathe. Can't do it. Particularly because the guy doesn't have a weapon. He's not, a murderer and anything like that. Timeline. So May 25th, Floyd is killed in Minneapolis. Okay? And the 4 officers involved, Derek Chauvin, Thomas Lane, Thao To, and Alexander Kuhn, have all been charged. Derek Chauvin charged with murder. The others, manslaughter. Okay? The trial begins March 8th. It's supposed to begin March 8th. All right? They're preparing now. So almost immediately, there were demonstrations in Minneapolis. You saw them. Everybody saw them. And they were violent. And that was on May 26th. Tear gas, demonstrators, vandalizing, looting. Minneapolis starts it. Next day, Memphis, Tennessee, Los Angeles, California erupt. Same thing. This was copycat. They saw Minneapolis. Then they run out in Memphis and LA. On the 28th, 2 days later, we got New York City, Denver, Louisville, Kentucky, and other places. Same thing. Copycat. Burn it down, loot it, attack the police. Day 4, Atlanta and New York City. In New York City, particularly bad, largest city in the country. Cops stood by and didn't protect the businesses. Okay? Looters went in, burned, did whatever they wanted to do in New York City. Then Chicago. Okay, weekend of May 31st. All right, 18 killings within 24-hour period. Downtown Chicago looted. 85 people shot. 85 people. Okay, so this is now 5 days after Floyd's death. Got 85 people shot in Chicago. Then Seattle goes up on May 30th. And then the nuts because the weak leadership in Seattle allowed them to do whatever they wanted, take over a 4-square block area of the city. Okay, you remember that. All right. Inslee, the governor of Washington State, mobilizes the National Guard, but they don't do anything. Nobody does anything. And there are, I think, 3 murders in the occupied area. Could have been 2. New York City continues almost every night. Here, the looters run a while. And then Portland, Oregon goes up. Still going on in Portland, Oregon. They can't control anything out there. All of the cities I mentioned have one thing in common. They're run by far left mayors and city councils. All of them. You didn't see these riots in cities run by conservative people. Didn't happen. Although Memphis, Tennessee, you can debate it. All right. So, in the civil unrest, since George Floyd was killed, there were more than 12,000 destructive incidents. 12,000. 8,000 of the 12 were linked to the Black Lives Matter movement, which is a communist organization. 8,000 out of 12 were spurred by BLM. Okay? This is according to the Armed Conflict Location and Event Data Project. It's hard data. The estimated cost of the civil unrest, $2 billion. Cities have to pay that. No, taxpayers have to pay it. All right? More than 2,000 law enforcement officers hurt, many severely, 3 dead. Since George Floyd died, 25 Americans have been killed, civilians. 25 dead. Okay? 16,000 people arrested. 53% of those cases dropped by liberal prosecutors. Half. 16 arrested, 8,000 dropped. Not going to prosecute. And we're talking looters and arsonists here. And people who assault police. They walk. All right? All of this combined stuff I just told you set back race relations in this country decades. Decades. So in the beginning, everybody came together, all colors, so we can't have this George Floyd situation ever again. Everybody was agreeing, except for the lunatic fringe. Then after this, divided into racial camps. Now the media, of course, sided with the anarchists and the looters. They gave lip service, oh, you know, we don't want violence. Don't. But they didn't mean it. They were happy. The more anarchy, the more disruption, the worse it was for Donald Trump. That's what motivated them. I saw the coverage. It was a joke. Well, I remember the CNN guy standing outside of the burning building. Most of the protests are peaceful. It was like a cartoon. Because the progressive left media knew they could sell anarchy, Trump would lose votes. And they did. But in the hearts of people, and I know this to be true, a lot of people said, look, you know, we want equality of race in America, but we're not going to stand by and let thugs burn the country down. Now, I'll be called a racist for using the word thugs. It's okay. I'm telling it like it is, telling you the truth. People go, we're not going to let them burn down the city. And how do I know that? Because gun sales are at record highs everywhere. In fact, on Long Island, where I am, very strict gun laws here. You can't find a gun. They're all sold out. All right? So people are arming themselves. I'm not going to let you come and burn our house down. Not going to do it. We have a business. You're not burning the business down. Okay. So, we got COVID. We got civil unrest, all in this year. Let's go to the election. People have lost faith. in our voting process. And the Attorney General, Bill Barr, who's leaving tomorrow, said, I'm not going to investigate it. I think there's fraud. He said that. I believe there's fraud, but I'm not putting a special counsel out there to look into it and find out how bad it was. I'm not going to do it. That's corruption. And I like Bill Barr, but I lost a lot of respect for him, got to tell you. What's the downside, Mr. Barr, of appointing a special counsel to see how bad the corruption was in the election? Tell me what the downside is of that. Yeah, I know you got guys out looking at it, but they're not doing anything. Because if they were, you'd report something, and you haven't reported anything. The vote was November 3rd. Timeline. So when the polls closed in Pennsylvania, Donald Trump was up by 600,000 votes. I said, he got it. He got it. 600,000 votes. There were still 1.8 million to be counted. Well, all Trump had to win was 40% of the 1.8 absentee mail-in votes. And he had it. No. He lost by 82,000 votes in Pennsylvania. So I'm going, what? And most of those were in Philadelphia and Pittsburgh. All right. Michigan, polls closed. Trump is up by 300,000 votes. Okay, he lost by 155,000. Again, same thing. All these mail-ins went 70, 80, 90% for Biden. Georgia, Trump had a 100,000 vote lead when the polls closed. He lost by about 12,000 votes. Wisconsin, Trump led by 117,000 votes. Polls closed. Okay, he lost by 21,000. Same scenario. All the mail-in votes broke huge for Biden. Remember, Donald Trump got 12% of the African-American vote nationwide. Was it all African-Americans voting by mail? No. So, reading these statistics, any fair-minded person would do analytics on the mail-in votes. We doing it? Not doing it. Some private people are, but not the government, not the Federal Election Commission. It's a little suspicious, isn't it? I think so. So that rocked the entire country, and here's how the candidates reacted.
I didn't lose. The election was rigged.
By who?
By the Democrats, and actually, interesting, by the Democrats, but by local Democrats, meaning state Democrats. They outsmarted state Republicans.
American democracy works because America makes it work at a local level. One of the extraordinary things we saw this year was that everyday Americans, our friends and our neighbors, often volunteers, Democrats, Republicans, independents, demonstrating absolute courage. They showed a deep and unwavering faith in and a commitment to the law.
So don't expect Joe Biden to do anything, nothing, about allegations of fraud in the election. And that leaves us, Americans who want a fair country and justice, where does that leave us? We're not going to get it. Not going to get a look at this election. You're not going to get it. 1960 it happened. Nixon beat Kennedy. And we write about that in my upcoming book, Killing the Mob. Nixon won. But you didn't get a look at it because the press wanted JFK, just as the press wanted Joe Biden today. You know, that was 60 years ago. Nothing's changed. I mean, I am standing up for my country. I continue to stand up for the promise of America and the potential. But this is horrible. I'm not saying, as many commentators do, there was absolute proof that the vote was fraudulent on a level that would have turned it to Donald Trump. I can't say that. I can say it for Nixon Kennedy because we investigated it thoroughly. And the mob was deeply involved in that. But I can't say it here. I can say, and no one can dispute me, that there was fraud. And it needs to be looked at in a very analytical way. Forensics need to be brought in to look at the precincts that had these crazy turnarounds. All right. So, 2020, this year, is it worse than 1929 when the entire world financial system crashed? My parents lived through it. Maybe yours did if you're a boomer or a little younger than that. Scarred both of my parents. I mean, they were always afraid there would be another crash. My father was petrified, never took a chance, didn't invest, like hoarded the money. Food, you had to eat every scrap on that plate. And all of that was depression area. So depression started on Black Tuesday. The stock market crashed. 16 million shares sold on that day. Boom. And it lasted to World War II. And in between, you had the Dust Bowl. You had ended 1932, 24% unemployment in the country. And those days, you didn't have a safety net. You didn't have the federal government sending you checks or food stamps. That didn't exist. You were hungry. You had to wait on a line to get fed at a local charitable situation. All right, FDR comes in, all right, 1933. Then the government starts to dole out money, all right, a bunch of different projects. But brutal times economically continue until 1941. When the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor, we got into World War II. All the production ramped up to defeat the Germans and the Japanese. And by the end of 1945, when the war ended, less than 2% unemployment in the USA. That ushered in, the calm 1950s, where people were able to buy homes, and on and on and on. So, what's worse? This year or 1929, that lasted to 1941. I say this year's worse, with all the death and all the chaos and all the strife. Horrible year, 2020. All right, this month in history, we won the war on Christmas, okay? So on December 19th, 2011, I said this: Christmas is not a word anyone should be ashamed of. It is the law of the land. Federal workers and most everyone else do not have to labor on that day. That alone, we should all be merry. Okay, and we had department stores, we had governments telling their employees not to say Merry Christmas. That's vanished. Right here. I led it. I took heat. You know I took heat. But we won. So a poll came out a few days ago. This is YouGov poll, December 5th. Do you agree with the statement, there is a war on Christmas happening in USA? 39% say there is today. 44% say no. By party, Democrats, 16% believe there's a war on Christmas, 40% say no. Republicans, 72% agree, 14% disagree. There really isn't a war on Christmas anymore. We won. And here is the capper. Which seasonal greeting do you prefer to say to others? Merry Christmas, 65%. Happy Holidays, 28%. We crushed them. All right, another proud achievement in my career. There were a few this year, Christmas. That idiot Governor Tom Evers out in Wisconsin. He put up a holiday tree, wouldn't say Christmas. You're a jerk. I'm sorry. I know that's not a nice Christmas thing. Evers, it's Christmas. All right, let's have some fun facts, okay? Fun facts of Christmas. Lighten it up a little bit. First of all, Christmas trees, all right, they went all the way back to the Egyptians because they had a winter celebration and they put up a little tree and decorated in Egypt. Way, 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 way back with the pharaohs. But it was only popularized in 1846 when Prince Albert of Germany brought a tree to England when he married Queen Victoria and decorated it, and that became a Christmas tree. Jingle Bells, originally a Thanksgiving song. All right, James Lord Pierpont wrote it, and he called it One Horse Open Sleigh for his church's Thanksgiving concert. But it was appropriated by Christmas. Candy canes. All right, in 1670, the choir master at the Cologne Cathedral in Germany gave his young singers sugar sticks to shut them up during the very long living creche ceremony. He bribed them with sugar canes, and that became candy canes. All right? Christmas, the word comes from the Old English Christes Massi, which means Christ's Mass. Okay? First Christmas tree put up by President Benjamin Harrison in the White House in 1889. Old Ben, boy, he was a card. And then modern day Christmas really began in 1931 when Coca-Cola commissioned illustrator Haddon Sundblom to paint Santa Claus for Christmas advertisements. There was Santa with a bottle of Coke and went wild. And then Santa started showing up at department stores. Movies were made out of Santa. Santa, 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 Santa. And today, if you write a letter to Santa, and I hope you do, he's got a zip code up there in the North Pole. Just Google Santa North Pole zip code, they'll give it to you. So when I was a kid, I loved Santa. Santa was the best. Okay. Some fun facts on Christmas. We'll take a break. Back with your mail. And then Holly, the terror dog. All right, we're in a recession. Everybody knows it. Millions of Americans have lost their jobs, and now's the time to evaluate your financial portfolio. And I recommend you hold some gold and silver, and the company that I use is American Hartford Gold Group. I've been with them for years. They sell physical gold and silver. You can hold it, or they'll deliver it to your IRA. Gold is up more than 30% since I started telling you about the American Hartford Gold Group. So please call them now, tell them Bill sent you, and they'll give you $1,500 of free silver on your first order. The number is 877-444-GOLD, 877-444-GOLD, or text GOLD to 65532. Many of us are worried that our 401ks and retirement savings, everything we worked for over a lifetime, could evaporate. With all the fake news, it's important to have an independent expert in our corner to preserve and grow our savings. It's simple. So please meet Silicon Valley angel investor and 5G expert Jeff Brown of Brownstone Research, whose only obligation is to us, to you. His newsletter, The Near Future Report, shares his analysis on where the stock market is going and when, which stocks are poised to rise and fall, and new ways to profit from the exploding tech market. His track record is amazing, so please go to bill5g.com. It's easy, bill5g.com. You will thank me. Okay, let's get to some mail. Johnny, I've heard the left are now paying people to vote in Georgia. Johnny, I have not seen any evidence of that at all. If you have some, please pass it along to me. Robert, Bill, you're correct. This is a corrupt country. Attorney General Barr confirmed this. No Durham report, no Hunter Biden investigation, no special prosecutor on the election. I hate to admit it, but it's absolutely true. Angelo Di Donato, Macomb, Michigan. You said if it wasn't for COVID, Donald Trump would have run away with the election. If election fraud caused him to lose, as his supporters believe, all right, wouldn't he have lost even without COVID due to election fraud? No. Yet states like Florida and Ohio that ran their elections almost perfectly. Okay? It was the mail-in ballots that were allowed against the state law in places like Wisconsin, in Pennsylvania, in Michigan. That's what did it. So he wouldn't have lost. Kenneth, just read that the new $2.4 trillion spending on the part of the federal government contains 6,000 pages of text. You really think anybody read it? No, they never read it. The pinheads in the Senate and House of Representatives never read the bills. They have people who do it. So you got 6,000 pages of spending. They got 6 people, all right, each read 1,000 pages and give the politician a summary. That's how it goes down. Nobody ever reads these bills. Matthew Bowes, Petoskey, Michigan, can you please recommend an organization that is the equivalent of the far left Media Matters? There isn't any. And I'm glad. I don't want conservatives to be gutter snipes and defamers like Media Matters. They're an awful, awful crew. Now, if you want strong point of view on the right, Breitbart has that. Okay? Daily Caller comes at it from that point of view. So there are around, but we don't want, traditional Americans don't want a Media Matters. Oh, God. Dennis Peranto, Moran, Michigan. A lot of Michigan viewers tonight, and I'm glad about that, of course. When others were canceling their premium membership, we were upgrading to concierge. You're welcome and keep up the good work, Bill. Only one day did we lose premium members. I don't think we lost any concierge. Only one day. And that's when I wrote that column that said the Trump administration packs up, because they are packing up. Donald Trump is adding to his domicile in Palm Beach. He wouldn't be doing that if he was going to stay in Washington for 4 more years. He knows. So I told you the truth. Some people got mad. Okay. But then more people came in. So it worked out for us. 87% of concierge and premium members to BillO'Reilly.com renew. Nobody has that. That's the highest number anybody's ever seen. It's like Killing Crazy Horse on Amazon. 94% of the reviews by the readers, the folks, say it's excellent. Nobody's ever seen that. For the volume of people, I think it's 6,000 now who have reviewed a book on Amazon. So I appreciate it, Dennis. I'm glad you're a concierge member. Now you have an advisor, me, and it's just me and you. This doesn't go public, and I hope I can help you. Ian Tall, Melbourne, Australia. Greetings from Australia, Bill. Having just read Killing Crazy Horse, I cannot wait for the next book. Hopefully it's in a pipeline. Killing the Mob, out May 4th. And we just referred to it about the Kennedy-Nixon election. I have read all 9 Killing books, and they are enthralling. Although I must confess, the vivid detail in Killing Crazy Horse was an eye-opener. It is vivid. Okay? Having visited the USA many times, the latest read has me very keen, I love that Australian word, keen, to visit the Midwest and the battlefields of the Native American wars. You'll love it, Ian. You will love going out there in Montana and Wyoming, beautiful Arizona, Texas with the Comanches. You'll learn a lot. It's a great part of the country to see. Danny on the message board. We own all of the Killing books. Killing Jesus was fascinating, as are all of them. In my message, which is my column, Happy Birthday, Jesus, and I hope you all read it, because it's Christmas, it's Jesus' birthday, so it makes sense, right? I refer to Killing Jesus and the things that we found out. George Maxwell, Vassalboro, Maine. I started listening to you in 2008, Bill. I've always wanted to wish you a Merry Christmas. Things are very different now, but I wish you and your family a wonderful time and a Happy New Year. Very nice, George. And I had so many people doing the same, and I can't read them all, but right back at you. And Holly and I will have a little message for you coming up in about 3 minutes. All right, so hang tough for that. And finally, William Dempsey, Powell, Ohio. Bill, I'd like to thank you for another year of great analysis for the We the People. Very personal information like no one else. For that again, thank you. You know, I'm in business to help the folks. I don't need to be doing this. I'll have to do it. I have enough assets where I can live out my life, going down to New Orleans and Mardi Gras every day. Okay, which I would never do, but I could. But I'm using my skills and my experience to help you guys if I can. That's what this is all about. Honest information that will protect you from the evils of this world. Therefore, concierge membership and premium membership to BillO'Reilly.com becomes an imperative gift for Christmas. No shipping. All you do is go to BillO'Reilly.com, okay? Sign up for premium and concierge membership as a gift. You get a free book. We'll send you a free book. And give it to somebody you care about, or 3 or 4 of them. They're inexpensive gifts, but they matter. And they last a whole year. And you can discuss things. One of the keys to turning this corruption around is everybody in their own neighborhoods and towns get together. Get together, organize. That's the key. The evildoers are organized, and they got a lot of money backing them. We don't need money. We have stand up for your country sentiment, but we need to get together on a local level. Word of the day, when writing to us, do not be a varlet. V-A-R-L-E-T. So another quick break. Now, Holly is being bribed to do the end of the program. I'll show you what the bribe is. But Holly is still, holding out. So I don't know how cooperative she's going to be. I'm going to have to take this jacket off because corgis shed like crazy. So you'll see me in a shirt in about 90 seconds. If you are over the age of 50, I have an important message for you. There's a true alternative to AARP, the liberal retirement group that lobbies in favor of progressive policies. For less than $20 a year, an AMAC membership gives you members-only pricing on car insurance, roadside assistance, discounts on hotels and travel, cell phone plans, discount dental plans, and on and on and on and on. So please join more than 1 million fellow Americans right now at amac.us. And yes, I am a member. Visit amac.us, amac.us. So here's a final thought. Merry Christmas from me and Holly. This is Holly's wages right here. Holly, do you get that? I know. There you go, good dog. No, you can't bolt away. You got to stay here so everybody can see you. So we want you to have a very nice Christmas. Forget about the angst for a few days. We're going to do better next year. Everybody will. You stay with us. We'll be ahead of everything as we told you. Holly is going to get some presents in her stocking. And she's a good dog, Holly. Although she does not like to go out in the snow. That is a problem, but we're dealing with it here. So once again, we really appreciate you guys watching us. I can't tell you how much. I know, Holly, you'll get your stick in a minute. Have a very, very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And we'll see you the first Monday of 2021.